The Bible says, "So teach us to number our days, that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom." We're going to do a little review here about some things we talked about the other day, and then we're going to learn 2 new concepts, okay? You guys are so good at math. This is going to be so easy for you. The couple of things we talked about yesterday, we talked about subtracting from 10. And I did have a mom ask me a question about subtracting from 10 and said, it's getting to be really hard. Well, one thing that will help when you practice adding or subtracting from 10 is to bring up a hundreds number chart. You can pause the screen here and use this one, or you can just Google something like hundreds number chart and it will bring up something that is easy for you to use. If you can't find one, let me know and I'll send you one. Okay, so when we're subtracting from 10, remember that when we added from 10, we just counted down to the next group of 10s. When we subtract from 10, we go back up. So like for instance, this one here says 29 minus 10. Well, 29 is right here. 29 minus 10 would be 19. So just like here, 87 minus 10, we find the number 87. We go backwards 1 to 77. When we subtract 10, then we're going to change the first number. It's going to go less. Here, 87 becomes 77. So that's just a little review from the other day. Also, remember that we talked about, let's go ahead and look at this. Today, also, we're going to talk about another kind of subtraction fact. This is called the difference of 2. We learned last week about differences of 1, but difference, remember, means the answer. It just means, it's a mathematician's word, it means the answer of a subtraction problem. It's the difference. Last week we learned that if 2 numbers are beside each other on the number line, like 8 and 7, then the answer would always be 1. This time, if you will remember our evens and odds, if the number is, let's review that for a second. If the numbers are beside each other, we have 9 and 8. They're beside each other on the number line. We have 6 and 5. We have 10 and 9. We have 5 and 4. So all of those are beside each other on the number line. So 9 minus 8 would be 1, right? 6 minus 5, 1. 10 minus 9, 1. 5 minus 4, 1. When they're beside each other, they're so close, the answer is 1. Down here at the bottom, we find that if they're 2 odd numbers, then the answer would be 2. You can sit by mommy, but you have to be really quiet, okay? We can subtract 2 numbers that are odd, that are beside each other. 1, 3, 5, 7. Just sit down by mama. 1, 3, 5, 7. And when you subtract them, then the answer will always be 2. Okay, so let's look at these 2 odd numbers. 9 and 7. Bailey. Don't go over there, okay? Can I watch from here? 9 minus 7. Well, 9 minus 7 would be, do you know the answer? 9 minus 7 would be 2. Okay, let's look at this one. These are 2 even numbers. So here we have 8 minus 6. 8 minus 6 would be 2. Remember when we count by 2s, 2, 4, 6, 8, they're beside each other? So those are even numbers. 8 minus 6 would be 2. And then we have 12 minus 10. Those are 2 even numbers that are beside each other. So 12 minus 10 equals 2. Okay, let's take a look here. A quick review about polygons. We talked about polygons a couple days ago. Remember the polygon rules? The polygon rules say that all the sides must be straight, none of them can be curved, and they all can't have any openings. I want you to imagine it like an animal's gate. You don't want your animal to get out. A gate would be made of all straight sides. So these are some examples of some polygons. Okay, this is a 3-sided one, 4-sided one, 5-sided one, 6, 7, 8, 9, even 10. A decagon, a 10-sided polygon. Just a little review. Okay, today we're going to learn something new. Now I'm going to show up here a bunch of coins. It's a bunch of coins, isn't it? If you'll notice, they're grouped up in groups of 5. So let's count by 5s to see how many pennies are here in this group. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. I can't make noise right now. Okay, what would be the same as having 5 groups of 5 pennies? Well, let's take a look here. What about having 5 nickels? Wouldn't that be the same as 5 groups of 5 pennies? Because each nickel is the same as 5 pennies. So let's count the pennies. The nickels. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. 25 pennies, 25 nickels. Let's look at our next group of coins. Oh, here we have a mixed group of coins. Here we have 2 dimes and a nickel. We can practice counting those. Count the dimes first because the dimes are worth more. So we count the dimes first. So 10, 20, 25. Oh. So each time we're getting a smaller group of coins each time. That one was huge. I don't want to carry around 25 pennies. This one, not so bad, 5 nickels. Even smaller, 2 dimes and a nickel. Last one, you'll like this. I bet you figured it out by now. We have 1 coin, and that 1 coin is worth 25 cents. Do you know what it's called? It's called a quarter. A quarter is worth 25 cents. Because you can take 4 quarters, listen to this, 25, 50, 75, $1. That's how you count quarters. 25, 50, 75, $1. 25, 50, 75, $1. So 4 quarters make $1. 4 quarters make $1. It's like having 4 fourths. That's why it's called a quarter. Okay? So let's do a little money practice here. Oh, let's take a look at our quarter. On our quarter we have, that's our very first president. You know who that is? That is George Washington. Down here it says $quarter because that's what it is. It's 1/4 of a dollar or 1/4 of a dollar. United States of America is our money. In God we trust. It says it on all of our money because God is the most important thing in our country and which should always be taken first. Remember, there's only one God. We should put God above everything else. Liberty, freedom, which is something very important in our country. Now, quarters are unique. Many years ago, old quarters all had one picture, and it had a picture of an eagle on it. But about the time Miss Zimmerman was in high school, they started making new quarters. They started making new coins. You gotta be really quiet. Just wait a minute. Get up. So they started making new quarters, and they added quarters for every single state. Now this is a fun challenge, especially if you have some quarters, is that you can look on the back of your quarter and it's going to have, if it's one of the old quarters, it'll have, I think, an eagle on it. But if it's a new quarter, it'll have something from a state. Maybe you could find a quarter that had Tennessee on it. This quarter that's pictured here says California, and it has a picture of Yosemite. And then down here it has the date where it was made. So quarters are so unique and they're a lot of fun. So you can get quarters, you can look on the back and see what state they're from or what state they represent. It would be fun to try to collect a quarter from every single state. How many would you have? 50, right? 50 quarters. That would be so much fun. Okay, so let's take a look at one more thing. We're just going to practice counting with some money for a little bit. First we have 50 cents. Now remember I told you that we could count quarters a special way, a special pattern. We go 25, 50, 75, $1. Can you say that with me? 25, 50, 75, $1. One more time. 25, 50, 75, $1. Okay? That's how we count quarters. So for 50 cents, well, we know I could put 50 pennies in the box, but let's be honest. That's a little bit ridiculous. That's a lot of coins. I could put 5 dimes, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. I could put 10 nickels, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Or I could put 2 quarters. Now, 2 quarters is a lot less than carrying around 50 pennies, right? Remember, we count quarters. 25, 50, 75, $1. So 25, 50, 2 quarters equals 50 cents. Pretty easy, right? Let's look at the number 60 cents. It's a little harder. It's close to 50. Okay, we'll get a snack in a minute. It's close to 50. Okay, we'll get a snack in a minute. It's close to 50. So let's start with 50 cents in the box and see what we can do in order to get up to 60, okay? To get from 50 to 60, how many is that? Well, that's 10 more, right? So I need something to make 10 in order to get to 60 cents. So I would use my dime over here to get to 60 cents. So now it's 25, 50, 60, okay? Now we're gonna go up a little higher here. What could we use? What group of coins could we use to represent 75 cents? 25, 50, 75, $1, right? So 25, 50, 75. How many quarters could I use? I can use 3 quarters to represent 75 cents. Okay, let's take a look here. Now these are some crazy amounts of money. These are some crazy amounts of money. Let's look at this one. 45. Well, that's more than 25. So I'm going to start with a quarter because I want to put as little coins in my hand as I can. Then let's count by tens and see if we can get to 45 cents because we can't use 2 quarters because that would be 50 cents. That's too much, right? 25, 50, that would be too much. So let's take a look here. I have another dime. So 25, 35. Let's count by tens again. 45. 25, 35, 45. We get it? Yeah, we do. Okay? Now we have 57. Well, let's start with 2 quarters because we know that 2 quarters, right, is 50 cents. So I'm going to put 2 quarters in the box. 1, 2, 25, 50. How can I get to 57? I could use 7 pennies. I can't use a dime because that would be too much. That would be 60. So I could use a nickel. That would be 25, 50, 55, and 2 pennies. I'm going to grab those together and bring them all at the same time. So now I have 25, 50, 55, 56, 57. 36 cents. Can we do it? Yes, we can. Okay? Let's start with a quarter. How much is a quarter worth? A quarter is worth 25 cents. I can't use 2 quarters because that would be 50, and that's bigger than 36. Let's try a dime. 36, 20, 25, 35, and 36. That's the end of my lesson because Sophia's at my door. Okay? Work on your math, and we'll catch it. Here, everybody wants to see her, won't they? Wave, you're on the video. Thanks so much. We'll see you later. Pleasant surprises. Okay, guys, we'll see you later.